All right, is vinyl lettering easy to install? Yes and no. Some is much easier than others. A lot of it's going to depend ultimately on your surface, how well you prepare, and how big your letters are. There's a lot of elements that come into the complexities that go along with putting vinyl on. Okay, so the things that can make it a little more challenging to install your vinyl lettering really break down to conditions and surface. If you have a real smooth, shiny surface, your vinyl is going to want to stick to it immediately. So if you're a novice and you're trying to put this vinyl down onto a surface that's really smooth and shiny, it's going to stick immediately. So if you try to stick it down and you miss, it's going to be crooked, you're going to have problems. The trick to avoid this problem is to use lots of application fluid when you're applying onto that type of a condition. However, if you're going onto a surface that's not real shiny or it's not real smooth, you should be a lot more careful about how much application fluid you use, because basically at that point it's not going to want to stick, so you're going to have a real big problem peeling the application tape off of the decal. One change to that rule, I guess if there was one, would be glass. A glass is definitely smooth, it's definitely shiny, and yes, the decal is going to want to grab it right away. But if you use a lot of application fluid on glass, it takes a long time for it to dry enough that you can remove the tape. So it kind of gives you the worst of both worlds. If you don't use fluid, it's going to stick right away. If you do use fluid, you're going to have to wait quite a while before you can peel that tape off. In a nutshell, that really covers the main things you're going to run into when you're having problems with actual surfaces. The other thing you might consider is going to be the shape of what you're applying it to. If you're applying a decal to something that is round or wavy or has bumps and ripples in it, like around the door edge of a car, something like that, you have to really carefully tuck that vinyl right around those things, and that can be a little bit more challenging as well. The steps and the processes are still the same as we've laid out in our other videos. You just have to slow down, use a little bit more care, choose the right time to use application fluid and how much you use. Regardless, application fluid is always going to help you keep the bubbles out. It's always going to make it more forgiving during the install. Worst case scenario with application fluid is on certain surfaces, you need to leave that decal sit on there a long time before you remove the tape. But that's pretty much it.